In this one, I'm hoping that I'm not going to make too many enemies. I know that this is a sensitive subject for a lot, but in the season that we're in right now, you can see why I would be covering this subject. And in this video, I'm just going to be telling you why I don't personally celebrate Xmas, which a lot of people call Christmas. But like in the Bible, it talks about putting something that is unholy with the holy. And I don't want to mix Christ's name with this festival. And we're just going to get into a little bit of the traditions that are celebrated today currently in this country and all around the world, and how closely they match up to ancient pagan traditions and rituals. We as children celebrated this, and our parents, ignorantly or not, just went along with it. And so as a child, I was brought up with all this. I didn't know any better. And when I first came to the realization, when someone brought it to my attention, and that's all it took for me. And I'm hoping that I can do the same for others. I'm not looking for a debate on this. I'm not looking for an argument. I'm just going to present the information to you and you do with it what you will. I'm tired of arguing with people because I found out in the past 10 years or so that it doesn't do any good whatsoever, and people actually just kind of get mad at you and stuff. And so what I think now is that I realize that I can't convince anyone to believe a certain way or not. So I'm just going to present the information to you. But we stopped celebrating this tradition when my youngest or my oldest son was probably like 6 months old. So I have three children now, and none of them basically have ever celebrated uh, Xmas or Christmas in any way, shape, or form. And guess what? They're okay. They're just fine. They have everything they need. They lack nothing. They get stuff from mom and dad all year long. So we don't just choose to give our children gifts one day out of the year. They get everything, and they probably get too much if I'm quite honest. So for all the people that are thinking that your children are missing out or whatever, like that's not the case. My children are perfectly fine. We're a testament of that. And and honestly, once we came to this realization, we started telling people about it in the church that we were involved at the time. And we thought, wow, this is amazing information. Like, I can't believe I didn't know this before. And so obviously you're real zealous about it. And then you gotta go tell everyone around it about it, right? Because you're excited about this information that you found this out. So of course, Billy over at your church is gonna want to know it too, right? Wrong. And we found that out the hard way, and it was surprisingly shocking to my wife and I when we did this because it wasn't received well. And basically, if you start talking like this in a normal 501(c)(3) church building, it isn't going to be received well, and they're going to kick you out, which is basically what happened to us. You stop talking about this or else, or we don't do that here. We celebrate Jesus's birthday here, which for one, what commandment have we been given in scripture that says to celebrate his birth? I understand that it says that we should remember his death because of what he did for us, and and a lot of people celebrate Easter because of that, right? but that in and of itself, that's another topic for another video, which Easter is also pagan. Sorry, guys, but it is. And and so we basically got shunned there for a while, and by now people they just accept it, our family and everything. And so we really don't have any problems or issues with that anymore. They've just accepted it. It's been so long, like it's been 10 years now. We've gone through all the battles, all the fighting, everything, and we're kind of past that now. But if you guys are gonna take a stand on this and not celebrate it, just be prepared. It's not gonna be pretty at first, but we we just had a conviction about it after realizing what it really was. And and so I'm just gonna share some of that with you guys right now. And the proof is undeniable, actually. The the similarities between what people call Christmas and these other pagan traditions. We'll just get right into it. So I just wanted to start off with this real quick. And I know you guys probably have seen this already. It was all over social media a couple years, but this was a little clip from the Santa Clauses. And I'm just gonna play it real quick. I'm muting it. I don't know if the sound will affect a copyright or whatever, but you can see here. Let me go back real quick. So I missed it. So okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, so right here, the children you can see it says, um, "We love you, Satan," in this children's movie, right? We love you, Satan. And if you like, this was intentional. You know what I'm saying? This was not a mistake. They did this on purpose, and it you would ask yourself like, why? And there's really no good reason why they would do this. But as you can see, it says, "We love you, Satan." And then they notice it and they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no. Let's switch it around. Switch it around." As you can see right here, that switch. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so that was not a mistake, guys. It was it was intentional and on purpose that they did that. Okay. And I wanted to show you guys this too as well, real quick. So a lot of this has been fact checked since I realized that, but this was well known for a long time that the celebration of Christmas was actually illegal in the United States at one point. And I guess in 1836 they overturned that. That was the date. But if you go now like to Snopes, it'll fact check you and it's saying false. You know what I'm saying? So they tell you that this is false. They tell you, their version of the story, I guess. But yeah, that was pretty well known for a long time. But like I said, it's been fact checked now, just like everything else is today. So I just wanted to share a couple of these YouTube shorts with you guys. And honestly, guys, this is what I wanted to do. Like, this isn't my opinion, really. I'm giving you the perspective of what these pagans actually do on the same day that Christians supposedly celebrate the birth of Jesus. And one thing that I could never reconcile within myself and my wife as well is how is it that these pagans are are doing this thing and the Christians are doing this thing, which is the same thing, but yet the Christian says, "Oh no, but when I do this, it means this to me." And then the pagan says, "Well, no, 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 actually, this is what it means. And so I think that's what hangs up a lot of people today is they say, well, it doesn't mean that to me, and that's not how I do it. And so basically you're using yourself as the ultimate authority. And really these traditions were around long before Christ as well. And so, if these traditions were long before Christ, then how is it that it could be about him? And I'm gonna show you guys that that's not the case, right? Right here.
I'm sure most of you have heard of winter solstice, or maybe even Yule, but do you know what it is? Do you know the traditions that encompass it? If you celebrate Christmas, you might be surprised to know that many of the common traditions were actually heavily influenced by Yule and pagan rituals.
Oh, that's already for the people listening out there, they're already saying, not so, not so. But let's continue.
So it's celebrated on winter solstice, which this year is December 21st. And in the northern hemisphere, that's the longest night and the shortest day of the year.
Yule has Germanic and Scandinavian roots and is meant to celebrate the return of the sun and to usher in warmth and life.
Some cultures believe there can be a presence of evil on this longest night. They'll even stay up all night sometimes. They'll light candles, all to avoid brushes with dark spirits.
Yeah, so if you notice there, they're talking about the sun, the sun. And so the way that Rome, you know, basically what Christmas is, it's Catholicized Yule. It's basically the celebration of Yule that's been Catholicized and now they call it Christmas. And so what the ironic thing is about that word Christ and then Mass is a Catholic uh, ritual, if you will. I don't know how much everyone knows about the the Mass, the Catholic Mass, and how they take their communion. They got the Eucharist, which is the little wafer, and they perform uh, basically priestcraft, witchcraft, and they honestly believe that the priest has the power to call Jesus out of heaven and put him in that little wafer, and then now they're eating Jesus for their communion. And that process is called transubstantiation. And and so basically Christ Christ Mass is literally the death of Christ, yet people are saying no, it's I'm celebrating the birth, which is crazy because if you think about it, how everything with Satan is always like opposite. So it's like you're like, no, I'm celebrating the birth, and it's like, oh, actually, it's the death, which is ironic, but we'll just get
Ways
into
to
this next
celebrate
one.
Yule. Yule begins on December 21st with the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. An ancient Germanic pagan celebration, Yule marks the longest night of the year and the rebirth of the sun. Yule is a time to honor nature and reflect on the past. To make a Yule simmer pot, fill a pot with water and add ingredients like orange peels, cranberry, rosemary, and cinnamon. Add a little kitchen witchcraft by stirring in runes, names, and sigils. Simmer gently on the stove, adding more water as needed. When the simmer pot's finished, waft it around your home. Instead of buying decorations, go on a walk and collect any foliage that catches your eye. If you cut something off a tree, make sure to ask it first. Light a Yule log. If a fire isn't possible, you can put on a YouTube video of a Yule log. Make pomanders by pressing whole cloves into oranges or other citrus in decorative patterns. Poke guide holes with a toothpick to make your life easier. Tie a ribbon around it for hanging. These symbolize abundance and protection, not to mention smell amazing. Meditate or journal about the past year's lessons and set intention for brighter days ahead. Ways to celebrate Yule.
So this is a perspective from a pagan, their take on it, what it actually is, and not what you imagine it to be in your mind. And one thing that I thought was interesting, or a little funny is she said if you cut a piece of the tree off, make sure you ask the tree first. So you got to ask the tree's permission. So I apparently I've been doing it all wrong this whole time because I've been in the landscaping business for a very long time and I've never asked a tree if I can trim it up before I did it. So sorry, tree.
Yule is a 12-day historic pagan festival, which is celebrated in conjunction with the winter solstice, which occurs on December 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. It is no mistake that Yule is celebrated on the longest night of the year. For the Germanic people, Yule was a time to worship the gods. Going forward, every day will be lighter for a little bit longer. It's the perfect transition between the dark and light half of the year. Historically, solar celebrations can be traced back thousands of years and across hundreds of cultures. It's also widely believed that sacrifice was a big part of Yule for ancient peoples. It's no surprise that on the darkest, coldest day of the year, people would turn to call upon something greater than themselves for hope. It was believed, similar to Samhain, that the veil between the living and the dead was thin on Yule, making Yule a bit of a spooky festival. Listen to episode 148 of the Lunatics Radio Hour podcast for more on the history of holiday horror. Yule.
Okay, so that's holiday horror. And guys, I'm just building this up. I'm gonna actually take us here to a website here pretty soon, and it's it's gonna shock you. Let's check
The
this
winter
out.
solstice, once a vital turning point in the pagan calendar, marks the longest night and the rebirth of the sun. Ancient communities celebrated with lively festivals, honoring the return of light and life. These rituals were deeply rooted in nature's rhythms, symbolizing hope and renewal. However, as societies evolved, so did these traditions. With the spread of Christianity, pagan customs were woven into new celebrations.
You catch that? Pagan customs were woven into new celebrations. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just the society adapted, we celebrate Jesus now. We're above that. No.
Enter the Yuletide. A blend of old and new, it retained elements like feasting and gift-giving while embracing the birth of Christ, making it a cornerstone of modern Christmas. This transformation showcases humanity's ability to adapt and preserve, ensuring that the spirit of celebration endures. Through Yuletide, the echoes of ancient solstice festivities continue to resonate today.
And what's interesting too is not only is Yule associated with the Christmas celebration, but right here too, you can see that Saturnalia is also attributed to some of these same festivities and stuff. So I want to check this out real quick too.
Ever puzzled over the pagan origins of Christmas? Initially at Yule, a 12-day celebration hosted by the Norse to honor the winter solstice. The Romans, on the other hand, celebrated Saturnalia, a week of indulgence and revelry. These traditions were seamlessly woven into commemorating the birth of Christ as Christianity began to proliferate. So, while you're busy hanging ornaments and enjoying the feast, keep in mind, you're participating in ancient customs. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Ooh, I didn't even say he's the one that's touching the buttons, huh? Did you know? Did you know you're participating in ancient customs? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Okay, so another thing too, which I couldn't find any information on this right now because as you guys know, it's hard to do that nowadays. And just as they scrubbed that other thing about Christmas being banned in America and stuff like that, it's been fact checked. But I I remember that a long time ago I had read that they put like an actual human inside the Yule log and that's actually what was being burned because they did sacrifices and rituals to their god and they wanted the sun to come back, right? But I haven't been able to find that. If anyone can point me to a link or something like that, that'd be great. This guys is totally, like I said, not my opinion. This website is, as you can see, the title of this website spells8.com. So this is obviously someone who involves himself in maybe witchcraft, or I don't know exactly what they do, but they are obviously rooted in this pagan tradition and whatnot. So we'll just dive right into it right now. And the significance of Yule. Historically, Yule has origins in ancient pagan traditions and is celebrated as one of the eight Sabbats in the wheel of the year. Ancient customs include lighting Yule logs to symbolize the sun's rebirth, feasting, storytelling, and honoring the cycles of nature. In pagan traditions, we celebrate Yule as the return of the sunlight. At Samhain, we celebrated the end of summer and the fruits of harvest. Yule marks the shortest day and longest night of the year. This is when the sun begins once again to rise in the horizon, promising the start of a new seed time, encouraging us to move forward and trust that spring will come. Yule is a way to celebrate rebirth. So, yeah, the Christians think they're celebrating the birth of Christ, but as you can see, this is what's going on with the pagans in Yule, and they're celebrating the rebirth of the sun. We'll continue. The name Yule is thought to derive from the Old Norse, I'm sorry, joy? I don't know how to pronounce that, representing a time of celebration and renewal. A key tradition involves the lighting of candles and fires to welcome the return of warmth and light, as well as a decoration of evergreen boughs and the Yule tree, symbolizing resilience and eternal life. Sometimes called the Festival of Light or the December solstice celebration. Yule is a powerful time to celebrate the shift from the dark half of the year to light. This seasonal transition mirrors the larger cycles of nature and life, making it an ideal moment for introspection, gratitude, and setting intentions for the year ahead. This is what really got me, guys, and it may shock a lot of you too. So check this out. The symbols of Yule. Um, you guys recognize any of these symbols? Any of them look familiar? Maybe, possibly. Hmm. Huh. Let's see. Holly and mistletoe. Holly and mistletoe symbolize life and fertility because you know the pagans were all into that fertility stuff, right? They bring hope and blessings into the home at Yule. Ain't just nice. It's just so nice. And the wreath, how many people are hanging this wreath on their doors and everything? Pine, fir, and cedar wreaths symbolize the enduring life, hope, and the eternal cycle of seasons, especially in winter's darkest days. Ain't that sweet? The reindeer is an animal that carries strength, endurance, and the connection to the natural world as it is presented to us during Yule. Okay, and the Yule tree, huh? Every single person celebrating this day has one of these in their living room with the little presents under, right? In ancient times, they were decorated with candles, apples, and ornaments reflecting hopes for warmth and abundance. Saint Nicholas, huh? Did you guys know that that was part of Yule as well? Huh. Originally, a 4th century Christian bishop known for his generosity, he was merged with pagan traditions and other gift giving customs that fit with Yule's themes of warmth and renewal of the winter season. Maybe, so maybe did the pagans borrow Saint Nicholas from Christmas then? I don't know. Was I wrong about that? Okay, so you got the ornaments, gifts, sweetbread, solar symbols. And if you notice, guys, this symbol right here, just look at the Roman Catholic institution, and they got this symbol a lot, and they're covered in just pagan symbolism as well. So Solar imagery is used during the solstice to celebrate the sun's revival, infusing hope and vitality into the darkest time of year. Okay, and so you got the bells, bonfire, ringing bells helps dispel darkness and negative energy, while bonfires bring warmth, encourage the community to gather, and symbolize renewal and hope of the season. Okay, so eh, this is this is like damning, honestly, in my opinion, to the whole Christmas tradition too. So if you're a Christian and you're saying you're celebrating Christ's birth and you're celebrating Christmas, well, my question to you is, why is it, if you're celebrating Christ's birth, why is it that you got a wreath on your door? Why is it that you put a Christmas tree up in your living room? Why is it that you have these mistletoe and holly and you kiss your little uh, girlfriend under it? Huh? I just a question. I mean, don't get mad because I'm asking you a question. Okay, so there's actually a song in here that is a witch's song, apparently according to this website. But before we get into that, there's another song that a lot of people sing, and it's interesting. It's Deck the Hall. Okay. So get this. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la, right? But check this. Crawl the ancient Yuletide carol. Okay. So Christian, did you know that when you're singing Deck the Hall, you don't even know the words, right? I mean, or do you? Because honestly, like I didn't until I saw this, you know? Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. This is a Yuletide carol, okay? Fa la 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 la. And check this. See the blazing Yule before us. So think about it. If if what they were doing was rituals and sacrifices, and if say there was a sacrifice in that Yule log and they burned it, just think about that. You're singing this song that's celebrating as they're seeing this blazing Yule log before them with maybe a human sacrifice in it. They're singing fa la 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 la. We're joyful. Like this is amazing. Yeah, look, while I tell of Yuletide treasure, okay? So you're supposedly celebrating the birth of Christ, yet you're singing Yuletide carols. You're singing Deck the Hall, right? And you're putting up everything in your house right here. But but it's about Jesus, right? It's about Jesus, guys. Okay, don't get mad at me. Check this. The colors of Yule. I can't make this up. Look, green, red, white, and gold. Huh. Those are strikingly similar to the Christmas colors, wouldn't you say? Interesting, but it's about Jesus, right? Celebrating Yule. That's that's what that's what these people are celebrating is uh, they're celebrating Yule. It's not Christmas. It's always been Yule. And it just right here just goes into a little bit of detail of what the Yule log is. It's burned at Yuletide season, symbolizing the return of the sun and the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Evergreen wreaths, it symbolizes eternity and the cycle of seasons, often adorned with holly, ivy, and pine cones. And also, was known to be representative of the female organ, if you are catching what I'm saying. Okay, and so you got deities associated with Yule. Odin, the Norse god, right? Sun gods, Apollo, Sol Invictus, Saturn, also known as Satan, celebrating Saturnalia. We went over that brief short. Okay, Freyr, Frigg, Nijord, Demeter, Cernunnos, the Horn God, which looks strikingly similar to Baphomet. Let's see if they give us a picture. Yep, the Horn God, Cernunnos, Terasu. Okay, so that's a Japanese sun goddess. Okay. And here, this this was very interesting to me, and my wife and I don't even think I've ever heard the words of this carol that I'm about to show you, but you all are going to know exactly what this song is, and you just didn't know the words either. But apparently this is witches' bells, and it's a Yule, they say it's Yule witch music. So I'm just gonna play it here, and you guys are gonna know exactly what it is. Check it out. And check out the lyrics.
Back in the east, air spread the feast, birth, sun and moon, knowledge and pure self. Do I call light, fall on all fires, power bring, wheels, passion sing. Rest do I bow, protect me now, life's water flow, dare courage so north, come by here, never to fear, earth standing still, silence and peace. This circle cast from first to last, blessings to thee, so mote it be. This circle cast from first to last, blessings to thee, so mote it be. Oh, my power grows like a pyramid that's supported by the love.
As in ancient times, so it is now.
Oh, when the souls of sun, your time has begun, bringing magic, peace, and hope.
As it is now, so mote it be.
Back in the east, air spread the feast, birth, sun and moon, knowledge and view. Self do I call, light fall on all fires, power bring, wills, passion sing. Blessed do I vow, protect me now, life's water flow, dare courage so north, come by here, never to fear, earth standing still, silence and peace. This circle cast from first to last, blessings to thee, so mote it be. This circle cast from first to last, blessings to thee, so mote it be. Oh, my power grows like a pyramid that's supported by the love.
As in ancient times, so it is now.
Oh, when the souls of sun, your light has begun, bringing magic, peace, and hope.
As it is now, so mote it be.
This circle casts from first to last, blessings to thee, so mote it be.
So there you go. You got the witches' bells, and I know that as a child, I think the first time that I have a memory of that song in my head was the first Home Alone movie. And I just remember it was just that climatic moment in the movie where it had that song in there. And I just I never knew what the word said. And just like Deck the Halls, like we didn't know. So it's one thing to not know, but now that we do know, what are we going to do with that information? Like I said at the beginning, I'm not doing this to have a debate. I'm not trying to fight with anyone. I'm done fighting. But if you guys like this information, share it with someone you know that it may be profitable to them, and we'll catch you in the next one.